Thank you for staying. Let's start with our very first story. And riding commercial tricycles without a license is the most flouted road traffic regulation among riders of commercial tricycles in the Ashanti region. As many as 258 out of a total 298 people arrested in a special operation by the Ashanti Regional Security Council were in commercial activity without licensing. Prosecution of 188 cases has generated over 27,500 cedis in court fines. Nana Yaujima, my colleague, has more in the following report.
A total of 697 tricycles and motorbikes were involved in road crashes in the first half of 2021. 104 people died through the accidents, with 539 of them injured. The death toll forms 29.6% of fatalities recorded on the roads within the period. This informed the special operation by Ashanti Regional Security Council to deal with the incidents. Simon Osei-Mensah heads RECSEC.
If you go to most of our health facilities in the regions, most of the accidents being reported are caused by these three vehicles. As a result, Regional Security Council, we decided to take some measures and sanitize the system. They don't follow any transport regulations. So they drive along in the medians, they drive along the shoulders of the road and knocking people down, etc.
The Police Motor, Traffic and Transport Department has since stepped up efforts to deal with the fatalities by ensuring adherence to traffic regulations. Chief Superintendent Emmanuel Edubuahin explains the special assignment revealed majority of commercial riders, popularly known as pragia, operate without license, increasing the potential of accidents.
Any arrest has to end at the law court. So when you are arrested, what we do is that we give you opportunity to explain why we think you have offended the law and why you also think that you haven't offended the law. So we take your statement and we investigate. If we think that we have a case, then we proceed to court and then the court will decide. Because genuinely, some may have the licenses and they wish that you give them the opportunity to go and bring it. So once you are able to produce it, even though we can prosecute you for not producing your license at the time that we requested, however, we will give you the opportunity, once you say you have it, to produce it. If you're able to produce it, then that ends at the police station.
On the streets of Kumasi, many tricycles continue to flout road traffic regulations, most of them riding through wrong lanes. Some ignore the red lights and others overload passengers. Some commercial tricycle riders at Sawaba within the Askorimampong municipality say they are discouraged by the high cost of obtaining license. I think the operation will be beneficial. Some people are riding with fake license. Others flout the laws. So it is good for us to be brought to book. I don't have a license. I want to do one, but 600 cedis is too high. The Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority has revealed many opt for premium service at a cost of 600 cedis, but the riders will have to attach some level of seriousness in acquiring the license since their daily bread depends on it. Many argue the tricycle business will have to be regularized to deal with the high incidence of flouting of road traffic regulations. For JoyNews, Nana Yaujima, Kumasi.
Well, on that very beat, we cross over to interact with Henry Asumening, who is Senior Manager with Planning, actually, with the National Road Safety Authority. Mr. Asumening, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation. I know what is happening as far as these vehicles, these motor vehicles are concerned, is a great worry for you as well. Looking at the fact that a lot of them are operating without licenses, what do you feel is the way forward on this matter?
Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers and listeners. Yes, this is a matter of grave concern to the authority and Ghana as a whole. If you look at our road traffic crash statistics, you realize that although motorcycles and tricycles are the least involved in crashes, when it comes to fatalities, they contribute the most.
Right.
This year alone, they are contributing about 42% of fatalities we have recorded so far. So it's a worry, and we think that it's an issue that we all need to come on board to tackle.
Right.
So as I was listening to you, I heard about the licensing regime for the riders, where we have a lot of them not licensed but on the road. The Ghana Police Service, that's the MCCD, are coming up with a special unit to tackle the road traffic regulations concerning motorcycle riders. Because what we've really realized is that even those who have the license do not ride according to how it should be done, especially crossing red lights, riding, facing oncoming vehicles, and then weaving within traffic. And that one, I must say, in traffic, these tricycles, when they do that, it becomes very dangerous because the spaces between vehicles are too small for them to be able to weave through like the motorcycle. So this is an issue that the Ghana as a whole is concerned, and I know for a fact that enforcement is going to come up so that we can contain this. Then at the DVLA as well, for now, before you're able to acquire a motor riding license, even if you have gone through any school, when you get there, there is a sensitization program giving you at the time acquiring the license. When you have passed all the exams and everything, now you are capable of coming to ride on the road. So a license is about to be issued to you. You are given it's more of a sensitization there and there at the before the license is given out to you. So these are some of the measures that government is trying to put in place for them. But then also we should also take note that the MCD is automating its enforcement, and with the automation of its enforcement means that they are going to put some cameras. You know, now they have some cameras, but now they are going to bring in cameras that detect offenses. Let's say if you are crossing a red light and there's a camera, then the camera will take the evidence. And in this one, when they are taking the evidence, the number plate would all be taken so that the person can be apprehended and prosecuted. Okay.
Mr. Asumening, point well made in that respect, but haven't we waited a bit too long? In the meantime, a lot of people, are losing their lives. Some are getting maimed. Only recently, we had one of these tricycles involved in an incident. And I'll situate it from this angle. Just today on our sister station, Joy Prime, we had the PRO of the Okada riders, and he was talking about, what he had gone through in terms of securing a license and the fact that he had gone through no training whatsoever. Looking at some of these dynamics, would the licensing regime really resolve the problem? Especially as we know that a lot of them may be getting licenses without going through any proper training.
Thank you very much. This one, I would answer it bringing in drivers. If you realize the licensing regime in Ghana is changing, and it is changing such that now when you are going for the license, your biometric is taken, details are taken. Maybe we are not there yet, but I think we'll be there very soon, where now all data is being synchronized. Okay. When these data are synchronized, it will be difficult for someone to go through the system without passing through the system. Let me put it that way. Because if you go there, you can be identified within Ghana's database. So something is being done about this licensing regime. And also, as I mentioned, enforcement is picking up. And very soon we are going to see the automation of the enforcement sector where they can identify and use evidence to prosecute offenders.
Okay, just to wrap up, is very soon going to be sometime this year? Is it going to be this year,
please.
2021?
Yes, this year.
Okay. Mr. Asomeding, a very big thank you for joining the conversation. Henry Asomeding is Senior Manager Planning at the National Road Safety Authority. He joined us for that conversation. On now to our next story, and Chief Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah has endorsed the Ghana case tracking system as one of the surest ways of addressing bottlenecks in the administration of justice. The technology-based tracking system is to help curb corruption associated with arrest, investigation, prosecution, and conviction of criminal cases in the country. Justice Enin-Yeboah is hopeful the system will enhance transparency and facilitate coordination between the justice service institutions. Oheming Tewia has more in the following report.
Introduced in 2018, the case tracking system allows civil society, organizations, and their citizenry to monitor progress of cases from beginning to its closure. It involves the use of software designed to digitally track criminal cases from the initial 40 districts in 7 regions of Ghana. The Legal Resource Center, Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, and the Crime Check Foundation are partnering USAID to implement the Ghana Justice Sector Support Activity. It has been organizing sensitization workshops on the case tracking system in Kumasi. Justice Enin-Yeboah calls for public support in the implementation of the system. His speech was read by Justice Johnny Kulendi, a justice of the Supreme Court.
It will facilitate much greater collaboration and coordination between our justice service institutions. It will also enhance transparency and accountability, which is at the heart of any true sense of justice delivery. And it will reduce the impact of corruption on the process.
Prison is one of the key justice institutions envisaged to benefit from the case tracking system. An assistant criminal records officer at the Kumasi Central Prisons, DSP Francis Yao Apau, is hopeful the challenge of congestion at the prisons will be addressed. He reviewed out of the current remand population of 458 in the Ashanti region, 180, representing about 40%, have had their warrants expired. He blames administrative lapses such as missing dockets, transfer or death of police investigators for the illegal stay of inmates, leading to the congestion in the prisons.
The remand population in Ashanti region is around 458. Those that warrants or that have expired their stay at the prisons, it was 180. That means about 40% shouldn't be in prison by now. One of the key areas that we are expecting the CTS to work for us is decongesting the prisons. Also, we've identified some administrative lapses in the system. That's what I've termed it. And people are being punished because of these administrative lapses. A person will be remanded and then we realize that the CID has been transferred. There is the usual situation, somebody takes over. But when a new person takes over, some of them see it as a burden, but that is not his case.
Meanwhile, project officer at the CHRI and USAID Justice Sector Support Activity, Anthony Sedro, bemoaned the gap between the poor and the rich in assessing justice delivery in Ghana.
Ghana is not doing so well when the World Justice Report was released. For example, the cost of initiating a suit at the court is quite high. Majority of Ghanaians are not rich to be able to afford the cost of initiating justice at the courts. also, for those who are able to do so, who are able to go through the court system, there's a lot of delay. It takes so long for a court case to be held. To access to justice for poor and vulnerable, especially people who don't have money, is so difficult. And that is why, with the support of US aid, this project has come up so that we will have what is called a case tracking system. That's right from the police stations. When the suspect commits an offense, his docket is entered into an electronic system, right down to when the person ends up in prison or is freed. We can track the cases.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimenteria reporting.
Now, during crowd control, for instance, men in uniform feel less protected because of obsolete equipment. Again, mostly footage from the grounds for critical analysis is nowhere to be found. But what if there were a body shield equipped with wireless camera technology that could detect and record dangers from especially blind spots? Fortunately, a Ghanaian engineer has done just that. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with the engineer, Emmanuel Rekubrobi.
When I heard of various committees being set to investigate a Jura incident concerning our late brother Kaka, and I realized that there are a lot of things that engineers in Ghana can also actually do to help some of these things in future, as to ascertain what caused death in an event, one event or the other. We realized that people were called to testify, and then why not come out with an invention which could inculcate camera, so that when there is an incident on a battlefield or riot control, instead of going to be calling people to come and testify, of which we can have falsehood, the cameras itself will be able to, give us vivid happenings. So that's one of the motivation for coming out with the communication gadget. Actually, our men in uniform normally goes for crowd control. They go for crowd control, and at the end of the day, they themselves, for the fear of their lives, decide to shoot. Sometimes they are left with no option than to shoot, because they themselves are not protected. You go there and people are throwing stones at you, and you look left, right, center. The only thing you have is your AK-47, so you point to the crowd and then you shoot. So this shield is supposed to offer optimum protection for our men, so that they will feel much confident when they are on field. And then to actually scare people from coming closer to them. Because whatever you throw to them will not hurt the person and will be able to grab you. The hand is also made of metal, and it's very thick, for that matter, to be able to block any anything that one wants to hurt you with. Yeah, I have in communication gadgets. That's a Motorola here, and then linked with earpiece, and then that will help you to actually communicate to people in your control room, so that when there is a problem ahead of you, they will be able to see through the cameras and then communicate to you. Possibly 100 meters away from you, there is danger, so turn right, turn left. These cameras and then the communication gadgets will be able to help the men in control. It could be in an armored vehicle. You have your backup team there monitoring your movement on the field, and then they communicate to you as to how to go about with your movement.
Now, former President John Mahama is asking President Akufo-Addo to call for a youth summit on unemployment in a bid to find what he describes as sustainable employment for the many unemployed youth in the country. As part of his thank you tour of the Bono region Wednesday, the 2020 NDC flag bearer told the Bono Regional House of Chiefs his party is ready to sit and offer suggestions to achieve permanent jobs for the youth. Precious Semivo has more on the NDC's thank you tour in Sunyani.
The one-day thank you tour of the Bono region saw John Mahama and his team, including his 2020 running mate, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, chairman of Osuampofo, and other executives, held a meeting with the clergy, Regional House of Chiefs and Imam, and the party supporters in Sunyani. Responding on Moonlight FM to reactions to his earlier do-or-die comment, described by the MPP as inappropriate, John Mahama said his comment is an idiomatic expression directed at the NDC members and has no intentions of retracting.
Do the needful or perish. And so you must do the needful.
NDC should not wait and go to the Supreme Court again. Everything necessary at the polling stations and collation centers must be done.
And so I don't retract. The next election for NDC is going to be a do-or-die affair. It's different from all die be die. All die be die, broken English, pidgin jargon, but we do or die. Could be a dictionary in affair. And I say it's a do or die affair. NDC must man the polling stations. They must man the collation centers. Make sure the pink sheets are correct. Make sure we get the right results and everything. Because
if I am to be the NDC flag bearer again, I will not go to the Supreme Court.
NDC flag bearer, I'm not going to the Supreme Court. We must win at the polling station and the collation center. And Electoral Commission would have no option but to declare who the true winner is.
At the Regional House of Chiefs, John Mahama urged President Akufo-Addo to call a summit on youth employment in a bid to find a lasting solution.
The whole youthful population now, they will turn to something else and it will become a disadvantage.
Two heads are better than one. We in the NDC are ready to sit down, and if the President would agree, we should call a summit on youth employment to brainstorm and suggest how we can resolve unemployment.
To come out with suggestions how we can resolve this unemployment. Because
NAPCO went out, giving them 700 cedis per month.
And it's not sustainable. Artificial job creation.
What they need are permanent jobs.
Any permanent jobs.
On his part, the President of the House of Chiefs, Osajifo Osiadeye, Dr. Jimambedu, expressed worry over the many abandoned projects. He said taxpayers' money should be protected instead of the politicization of every national issue.
As a matter of urgency, Agenda
111 should go on, but the abandoned hospitals must also be completed for the use of Ghanaians, regardless of location. I'm pleading with Ghanaians to tone down on the NDC NPP politics. Today, you can't even express an opinion without being linked to a political party, and we must be careful about it. For JoyNews, Precious Semevo, Sunyani.
Now, the Bono East Regional Minister, Kwesi Edujan, has highlighted the need for Ghanaians to see literacy as a tool for the eradication of poverty. He made this call at a forum to mark this year's International Literacy Day, which was held in Techiman under the theme Complementary Education for Human Development in the COVID-19 Era, the Role of Digital Literacy. There's more in the following report by Anas Sabit.
Literacy Day takes place on September 8 every year to raise awareness and concern on literacy problems that exist within our local communities as well as across the world. This year's event, held under the theme Complementary Education for Human Development in COVID-19 Era, the Role of Digital Literacy, was organized by the Non-Formal Education Division of the Ministry of Education in partnership with the United Nations Scientific and Cultural Organization. National Director of the Non-Formal Education Division of the Ministry of Education, Mr. Francis Asumadu, highlighted the significance of the International Literacy Day.
International Literacy Day is special and significant to all literacy providers because it affords us opportunity to make sober reflections on what progress we had made and the challenges that lie ahead of us, and the lessons learned undoubtedly requires new strategies and interventions in order to move forward as a nation.
He again noted that though the COVID-19 pandemic affected education globally, strategic measures were adopted to ensure that teaching and learning is facilitated through family literacy engagements.
We all agree that COVID-19 pandemic has heaped lots of challenges on education globally, and our country was not spared out. Yet, the ministry and its agencies could be commended for their unrelenting support in the provision of quality education delivery in Ghana. We, in the Complementary Education Agency, continue to use to reach our constituents, that is our non-literate learners, through family literacy engagement.
Deputy Minister for Education, Madam Gifty Chum Ampofo, underscored the important role the internet played during COVID-19 and called on all to take advantage of digital platforms.
Everybody speaks about disadvantages of COVID, how economies are coming to a standstill, and how money has been spent. But I would say that by the magic of digitalization, COVID has made us realize that everything that we need to learn, no matter how indisposed you are, once you have this tool we call a cell phone, which you could use that for WhatsApp and all other things, you could use these same tools for enhancing ourselves.
On his part, Bono East Regional Minister Mr. Kwesi Adujan said there is the need for the people to see literacy as a tool for eradicating poverty.
In modifying the approaches of teaching and learning through the use of digital tools, we should be guided that literacy is not just about educating, it is a unique and powerful tool to eradicate poverty and a vehicle for the promotion of culture and national identity. It is indeed the bulwark against poverty and a building block for development.
Former Education Minister under the Estwal Kufuor administration and now board chairman for the Public Procurement Authority, Professor Christopher Amia Okunfi, stated that literacy education is key to building a truly progressive democratic country.
How wonderful will it appear if we got to the level where democracy in this country provided us an opportunity to look at issues rather than to depend on 5 cities and 10 cities in deciding where to vote. We can achieve this only when we attain some level of literacy.
Also present at the occasion are all major stakeholders in the education sector in the Bono East and Ahafo regions. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
From literacy, let's talk about road infrastructure. And ahead of the president's visit to the Oti region, residents want the president to address the delay in completing some road projects in the region, especially the Jasekan Rara and Jasekan Bodada roads.
The only thing I can feel is that they should try and help from Jasekan to Rara road. Very bad. The contractors will correct the money, they won't do it. Either they pay them or not, nobody knows. So please, we want Mr. President to help for them to do it.
Town road nina say ono na epese president mwae na ntimi nya kwan enye town road no mae Budada road Jasekan to Rara road so say e say yehu contractors no kan to Rara road no de omu ni ho yehu omo town road no so yehu omo
de ahwehwa ne say ye kwan no because e kwan dey say e kwan ne e fine ana impuntu eba man ni mu Rara kwan no en na menu anaka no Rara kwan no contractor na ba site afide enza hu contractor no she say na ekwan no is almost 80% completed but she say contractor na free site nti ekwan na asa west kura onam so a bigi sa obekwa ba na odade kura say na usa koto ifoforo na ye run about no oma be ekwan free ai station a eko hohwe free hands ko run about no maja ho inso to a untimi mfa ha na ha nyina say Kromun so mo da ma contractor no ye ba be vote no ye hu so contractor ba side afa mu vote we ya contractor nsa ni obiem.
Well, on that situation, ahead of the president's visit, we connect with Peter Senu, who joins us with more details. Peter, what can you tell us about, what exactly the people have been rooting for, how passionate they are about this ahead of the president's visit?
Well, ahead of the president's visit to the OT region, we've been interacting with residents who just played, but the factory is important to them, but what they still need is the access routes in the area. We can say government is doing something with regard to the Jasikan, the Dopepesu stretch of the Eastern Corridor Road, but there are also other link routes that needed attention. Some of them have been awarded years ago, I think 2-3 years ago, but work is, moving on pretty slowly on them, and so those are the things they still want the president to comment on as he visits the region. But I'm with Madam Sherifa, Secretary Tijani, Yankwanta South. What do you make of the concerns of residents? We know government is doing something. What do you make of other concerns that we should also tackle the other roads in the region?
But when you look at the roads, a lot of the roads are being awarded. In fact, it's been awarded already. It's been under construction already. When you look at the Dudu road, it's almost done. The asphalt has been laid and all that. And the roads are being done. And looking at what we are seeing today, it's amazing. It's one district, one factory. This is cassava and yam processing, which is they're going to process it into yam chips, powder form, and all that. It's amazing. It's amazing. This will go a long way to create lots of jobs for the youth in the area. So it's amazing.
But personally, what again, apart from all this, what do you want the president to touch on the ground for your people?
I think he's done a lot. This is amazing because the farmers, this area is very fertile. The land is very fertile, and one of the food stuff we grow is yam. And a lot of the people are farmers. And what makes it more amazing is that after the product is out, they will have to send it all the way to Accra. And sometimes it's difficult, buyers become so choked in the market. And having this factory goes a long way. They'll be able to supply the factory and then process it and all that. And so it makes it easy for the farmer. It means that the farmer growing the tubers already has a market for it. And so it gives them even money and all that. They'll be able to use it to even take care of their kids. So it's amazing. We are really, really happy about it. Right. Yes. So I want to thank the president for this wonderful, amazing factory. We are really happy. The people of the are grateful. Thank you.
All right. So that's Madam Secretary Tijani, the Nkwanta South, the parliamentary candidate for just 2020 elections. We want to speak to one other resident here in the OT region. The president is coming. We know he's coming to inaugurate the factory. What other concerns do you have that you must address as possible, as early as possible?
Thank you. We are expecting the president to connect some routes again in the OT region. He has done well already, but he still needs to do some work on other routes that links some villages to the major towns so that our farm produce can be transported to the district factory for processing.
So, for those you hear, these are the concerns of residents. Although the factory is important to them, they will still want other link roads that will enable the produce to reach the factories on time at the address so that we can, economic activities can take foot in the region.
Well, Peter, thank you very much for joining us with the details there. Right. Peter Senu is my colleague in the OT region ahead of Mr. President's visit. Let's turn our gaze now to the Multimedia Group's Classroom project, which is for that little child who runs home from school when it rains in his or her village. It is also for that child who risks being killed should their weak school block collapse on top of them. It is to avert such unforeseen tragedies that Multimedia is urging you to give for change, to make a difference in the lives of the country's future leaders. The PTA chairman of the Zuo Naili EA Primary School in Tolong is this morning, or this afternoon, I should say, appealing to you to intervene in their situation through the Classroom project.
When you look at the school, the population is huge, and when you
help us complete the project. It will enable the students to sit in small numbers, and teaching and learning will be effective, because the number of students in each class is overcrowded. It doesn't help teaching and learning. So if JoyNews help us in completing the project, it will enable the children and the teachers for effective teaching and learning to go on.
And that is why we're seeking your support in any form which can change a life forever. For Momo transactions, kindly send your donations to the number 0593 038 832. The name is Joy FM, 0593 038 832. Or to the Access Bank account number 009010105491. It's the Castle Road branch or any other Access Bank branch. The branch code is 009 and the SWIFT code is ABNGGHAC. You can also reach out to us via our front desk on the number 0302 216 540. 0302 216 540. The Classroom Project, promoting social justice through philanthropy. Now, staying on education, 20 students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology School of Medicine and Dentistry have completed a course in medical journalism with the Multimedia Group. This follows a memorandum of understanding between the group and the NUST School of Medicine and Dentistry to train medical students in health journalism. It has been 14 months since the signing of the MOU between the Multimedia Group Limited and NUST. Love FM's Kwesi Debra gives us a report.
The students underwent rigorous training in broadcast journalism, feature writing, data journalism, science technology health journalism, photo and video journalism, audio and video editing, among others. General Manager of the Multimedia Group Kumasi Unit, James Agla, was hopeful that graduates will help to strengthen the group's help desk.
Our quest to ensure credible journalism has called for the establishment of specialized news desks. Now, the health news desk is one of the integral parts, ensuring we serve our audiences with accurate and current health information. Ladies and gentlemen, the collaboration is therefore meant to strengthen our health news reporting. It is expected this will positively impact the lives of the people and sanitize the health journalism atmosphere in Ghana and beyond.
The president of the Ghana Medical Association, Dr. Frank Ankobia, lauded the initiative. He believes their expertise will positively impact Ghana's public health system.
We are so glad to have our own coming out as communicators and journalists. I'm sure you are committed to improving public health through journalism. In fact, all that you are doing is for you to ensure that there's good public health for the people of Ghana. We see people reporting medical cases and all other things. And because they are not conversant with even the terms in our practice, normally if you sit, be it the print, the broadcast or internet, it's laughable. But I believe sincerely that having you, the landscape for media, the media space is going to change completely in Ghana.
Board Chair of the National Health Insurance Authority and Foundation faculty member, Dr. Ernest Kwako, was hopeful the initiative will permeate other disciplines.
The future is bright. Look, after, let's say, getting to Masters of Medical Journalism, I think the journalism profession opens a space for many collaborations. You can have legal journalism, right? It's possible. If medical journalism is possible, why legal journalism is possible? there should be business journalism, it is possible, right? In fact, once you make journalism the constant factor, all other professional doors can be opened.
The Dean of the School of Medicine and Dentistry, KNUST, Professor Daniel Anson, reviewed the introduction of the program to other students in the School of Medicine and Dentistry. He says the university is discussing the possibility of launching master's degree in medical journalism in the near future. One of the graduates, Emanuela Osetutu, was enthralled by the experience.
So none of us had any idea what we're getting into, but we can all attest to the fact that it's been very educative, an eye-opener into the world of journalism.
The ceremony saw 11 female and 9 male medical students presented with certificates. Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
It's the Live on Joy News desk. We take a break. When we return, we bring you business.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The rate of inflation between locally produced items and imported items has widened as a result of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. This rate, as observed by the Ghana Statistical Service, indicates that locally produced items since the outbreak have witnessed a significant increase in prices as against imported items. In August this year, inflation of locally produced items stood at 10.3% as against 9.4% in July. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni.
The prices point of view, and again, not just the absolute prices, but the changes in the prices point of view. So on the slide that we show the trend from August 2019 to August 2021, we clearly see that the parity that we recorded in the month of May, we lost it to a very large extent last month, that is July 2021, where we saw a relatively higher gap between locally produced items and imported items, with that difference standing at 0.9. But this difference has further been widened in the month of August 2021, where we see a 2.2% difference between locally produced items and imported items. It is important you look at this that is why we do a trend analysis, to see what happened the same period, August 2019, the same period, August 2020, and see whether there is some seasonal effect occurring there. If you look at what happened in August 2019, that is at the outset of the rebasing of CPI, we see the dominance of imported items over locally produced items, specifically with imported items standing at 8.9 and locally produced items standing at 7.8. The story was different in the month of August 2020, where we saw the dominance of locally produced items, specifically at 12.6 and 4.8. But any conversation in the year 2020 should be had with COVID in mind. That probably led to that huge gap between locally produced items and imported items. So if one wants to make any deductions, there is that, as I said, catch up or return to where around this time of the year we see imported items from a price point of view having a relatively higher inflation relative to locally produced items.
In other news, the National Development Bank has secured provisional license from the Bank of Ghana to begin operations. This will, however, be subject to meeting some conditions before it can start full operation next month. George Rafe has the latest.
Joy Business is learning that a formal communication was made last week to the Ministry of Finance by the Bank of Ghana in a letter. This should mean that the bank now has the legal backing to kickstart the process to aid its full operations. However, this is subject to meeting some conditions before. In the said letter, the Bank of Ghana also doesn't want to restrict the approval to the board members and the chief executive, but other key management positions of the bank. There's also talk about the structure and the level of minimum capital requirement that should be imposed by the Bank of Ghana on the institution. Now, failure to meet some of these conditions could see the National Development Bank miss out on starting operations as expected. The Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, recently told Joy Business that government is waiting for the Bank of Ghana's approval so the institution can take off quickly as expected. We also understand that the offices of the National Development Bank has already been secured at a prime location here in Accra. It is the belief of government that the bank taking off on time will aid in the recovery of the economy. The finance minister has also revealed that they will be using this bank to support long-term funding to some critical areas of the economy. However, it is not everyone that is enthused about this bank, with some of these persons worried about undue political interference and going the way of institutions like the Bank for Housing and Construction, which has collapsed.
All right, and there's more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Up next, sports.
Welcome to the sports segment on Joy News Desk, and it always is a joy to welcome aboard Oreku Ampufu. Thanks for joining.
Thank you too, Benjamin.
So, I don't know how to say this. As an out-and-out Kumasi Asante Kotoko fan, when you have to talk about that other team. What's that other team's name again?
Obia?
I try how to vote.
Yeah.
They are in the news, aren't they?
Yeah, they're trying to get back to the money zone of the CAF Champions League. And, there's been a bit of drama concerning their fixture against Club Industrial de Kamsa.
Yep.
And that's
a fixture not to assume.
Yeah, because of the political unrest in Guinea. They were scheduled to travel to Guinea this week. Around this time, they should have left and played this weekend in Guinea. But we are all aware of the current situation, in Guinea. So CAF had to react. And the organizing committee came out with a decision, according to the statutes, from CAF, that once there's political unrest and with a lot of tensions going on in the country, the decision, or usually what the outcome is that they do find out.
Yeah. But thank you very much, Oreku Ampufu, for bringing us the sporting action. There, you can check out more stories on myjoyonline.com right before we wrap. Guineans don't believe in ECOWAS. That's according to an activist. And maybe the final story I'll give you, focus on equipping and completing existing hospitals, not building new ones, Prosper Bani tells government. Check out more stories on myjoyonline.com. This has been Joy News Desk with yours truly, Benjamin Akapo. Thank you for your time.